Hey everyone, and welcome to the Midnight Book Club. This year, I plan to read at least 24 books in an effort to reignite my passion for reading, explore different genres and authors, learn from these books, and share my thoughts, experiences, and reviews with you. So, here are the books I read in January. The first book I read was Yellowface by R.F Kuang, the best-selling author of the Poppy War trilogy and Babel. Yellowface has received widespread praises, with many saying it offers a glimpse into the darker, less glamorous and cold-hearted side of the publishing industry. So I gave in to see what the fuss was about. This story follows June Hayward, a struggling author awaiting her big break, and her obsession with her university friend turned frenemy, Athena Lu, a talented best-selling author who skyrocketed to fame and landed multi-book deals from the moment she published her first book. Athena has everything June has ever desired, fueling an undercurrent of resentment. As Athena's success continued to soar, fate had other plans. One evening, while Athena was hanging out with June, she dies in an unfortunate accident. In the chaos that follows, June ends up stealing the manuscript that Athena was working on for a new book. As the news of Athena's passing spreads, the entire industry is stunned by the loss of such a talented star, and soon people start suspecting June of foul play. Meanwhile, June tries to stay away from online trolls and acquisition and tries to work on her next book based on Chinese migrant laborers in World War I. A reputable publisher picks it up and June makes sure to play her cards right to ensure the book gets published, and she finally gets a big break, the one she believes she deserves. However, once the book is released, it sparks controversy on social media. Athena Lu's fans question the authenticity of June's work, even accusing her of cultural appropriation. Then one day, things take a turn. June finds herself at the center of an online scandal, one that could jeopardize everything. And that's where the story unfolds, revealing scandal after scandal. Overall, the book is a wild ride. The character development is intense and the story keeps you hooked. The only thing I felt could have been better was the ending. It seemed a bit rushed. Even with that, I really enjoyed the book. Would I read it again? Yes. Would I recommend this book? Absolutely. There's mystery, plenty of drama and betrayal that will turn you into a devil's advocate, making you question, does this really happen in publishing? I give this book a 4.5-star rating. The second book I read was I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki by South Korea's best-selling author Baek Se-Hee. I read the English translated version, which was written by Anton Her. When I picked up this book, I didn't know what to expect, but the title did intrigue me. As a side note to all the BTS armies out there, this book was also read by Namjoon and Sugang. I only found out about this after I finished reading the book and while I was researching about it. I wonder, how did they truly feel about it? I wish I could pick their brains on this someday. Now, coming back to the book. In this memoir and self-help book, the author courageously opens her heart, exposing her vulnerabilities, insecurities, fears, and past traumas like open wounds. She allows us to witness her healing process through a 12-week therapy session with a psychiatrist. Yes, you heard it right. This book is essentially a documentation of a therapy session. The author hopes that by sharing her experiences, readers who have faced similar struggles can find solace in her words and even consider seeking therapy themselves. Some of the key topics the author explores in this book include loneliness, feeling stuck in a cycle of anxiety and self-doubt, and being overly critical of herself. Many of these struggles stem from her experiences growing up in a family with strained relationships, facing bullying at school, and dealing with immense pressure of living up to the societal standards of beauty and success. These deeply ingrained experiences have shaped the way she navigates relationships, friendships, work, and most importantly, her ongoing battle to reconcile with her warped perception of herself. There were many moments in the book where I could relate to her experiences and empathize with her, even though we come from different cultural backgrounds. I suppose that's the nature of pain. It transcends cultural differences. Because the book dwells into such intense emotions and personal details, it can sometimes feel overwhelming. I found myself needing to take breaks to pause and reflect before continuing. Having had therapy myself, I did feel somewhat uncomfortable with the dynamics between the author and her psychiatrist. The psychiatrist's responses often seemed cold and lacking in empathy, and the solutions were heavily reliant on medication, which led to side effects. This made me wonder how things might have been different had she explored other therapists before settling in on one. Would I recommend this book? Yes, but with a caveat. If you're picking up this book, be prepared to feel uncomfortable. It's okay to take breaks while reading to process the emotions it brings up. And who knows, it might even inspire you to begin your own therapy journey. Will I read this book again? Maybe not the whole thing, but I will definitely refer to points that resonated with me and possibly also keep an eye out for points that made me see things from a third person's perspective. I believe the book would have been even more engaging if it had been structured differently rather than presented in a patient therapist transcript. Labeling it as a self-help book may be a bit misleading as it doesn't offer clear takeaways. Everyone's experiences with therapy and mental health struggles are unique, so I highly encourage readers to approach it with an open mind and decide for themselves. My overall rating is 3.75. I have included links to a few websites below in case you wanted to explore mental health resources for yourself or help someone you know. The third book I read was The Midnight Library by award-winning novelist and journalist Matt Haig. This book has an amazing concept and is perfect for people like me who obsess over what-if situations. It was also recommended by Namjoon from BTS. If I end up reading more books that were recommended by BTS, then I'll definitely make a video about it. Until then, stay tuned. I digress. Now, coming back to the book. In this book, Nora C, the protagonist, has been going through a rough patch in her life. Every day, she barely manages to put herself together to face the challenges thrown her way. Until one fateful day, everything that could go wrong does go wrong, bringing her to the cusp of making a tough decision. Overwhelmed by pain, regret, and guilt, she decides to end this chapter of her life. Here's where the universe works in mysterious ways and leads her to the Midnight Library, a purgatory-like place where she is stuck between life and death. Now she must decide whether to give life another try or wait for death to set her free. Like any regular library, this one has a librarian too, a familiar face from Nora's past, who guides her through the library's rules and presents her with choices. Each book in this library contains a different version of her life, one where she made different decisions and possibly lived without regret. With a little skepticism, Nora embarks on a journey exploring the infinite possibilities of what her life could have been. She soon realizes even the smallest decisions create massive ripple effects. And as she experiences these parallel realities, the weight of it all starts to sink in. Her perspective of life, death, and everything in between begins to shift. Every choice is valuable. She just gets one chance to claim it, and once it's gone, it cannot be relived. The pressure is real and the time is slipping away. The great thing about this book is that it keeps you guessing and sparks hope when you least expect it. With each experience, you become so invested in Nora's journey that it almost blurs the lines between her reality and your own. It's a thought-provoking book that doesn't feel too preachy, but it did encourage me to reflect on the choices I've made or will make in the future. And it also made me ask this question: is there even a right choice, or are we just limiting ourselves by getting too fixated on possibilities, the ones we know and the ones we can't even comprehend? So, will I read this book again? Maybe someday in the future. Will I recommend it? Oh, absolutely. Overall, my rating is 4.5. I really loved this book. There were a few pages or sections where I did feel that stories were a bit stretched, but even with that, it definitely is a great read, and I would recommend everyone to read it. That was it. 3 books down and 21 more to go. If you have any book recommendations, please drop them in the comments below. Until then, see you next time, and thank you so much for watching.